Today, I want to dive into something that has come up a lot in conversation with others for me lately, and that's the difference between narcissism and self-abandonment. I've gotten a whole bunch of messages from people I work with asking about these patterns, and especially how they show up along the healing journey. So I wanted to share some insights that actually completely transform my own understanding of these energetic dynamics. Been studying this a little bit more, and it's quite interesting, really. Both narcissism and self-abandonment are actually about connection, and they're just completely opposite approaches to solving the same human need. And both tell a deeper story about our earliest relationships, essentially. So let's talk about the narcissistic pattern first. Where does the narcissist's energy flow? It's all directed inward, constantly circling back to reinforce their self-image. Everything becomes about them. They're constantly seeking to appear larger than life, positioning themselves in the spotlight, collecting admiration wherever they go, etc., etc. You even see this in spiritual communities, the spiritual narcissist who's more awakened than everybody else, right? The person who uses profound spiritual concepts to elevate themselves. So what's happening energetically is that others are merely being used as sources of validation before all attention gets redirected back to the narcissist. It's actually an attempt at connection without acknowledging the true existence of the other person. The narcissist is unconsciously trying to experience oneness by making everything about themselves. And this pattern often reflects an early childhood dynamic where they received too much of the wrong kind of energy from their caregivers. Not a genuine connection, but being put on the pedestal, given inappropriate power and control, being treated as special without actually being seen for who they truly are. This is the key. The parents took up too much space, but in a way that inflated rather than nurtured the child's developing sense of self. Now, on the complete opposite end, we have self-abandonment, which ironically is extremely similar. And I'll be vulnerable here, this has been my core pattern, essentially. I used to essentially completely abandon myself in order to gain acceptance by others and these kinds of things. So for the self-abandoner, all energy flows outward. Everything revolves around others, and there's this constant focus on pleasing, accommodating, merging with those around you. You make yourself smaller, adapt perfectly to others' needs, and essentially seek approval through self-sacrifice. I was so attuned to everyone else's needs and emotions, I was completely oblivious to my own existence, in a sense. And I know that a lot of people have shared a similar experience with me. And the self-abandoner's energy completely flows away from themselves and towards others. And again, attempting to achieve oneness, wholeness, through perfect attunement to others' desires or to others' needs. And again, the unconscious goal is to experience connection, but this time without acknowledging your own existence, essentially forgetting yourself. This pattern typically mirrors an early childhood environment where you were either completely overwhelmed by caregivers' energy or received almost none at all. So either you experienced boundary violations that prevented the development of a healthy sense of self, or you experienced such profound emotional neglect that you learned your needs didn't matter. So here's a crucial difference that I've come to understand through my own healing work. While the narcissist has developed a self, even though it's a false and inflated one, the self-abandoner struggles with the very concept of having a unique sense of self. The self-abandoner's challenge is learning to see themselves at all, essentially. And this is why self-abandonment patterns can actually be more difficult to recognize and heal, because when you're in it, you've become so good at not existing. And then that can even be amplified in spiritual practice, where terms like transcendence come into play. And this sort of sense of not existing is all of a sudden interpreted as a spiritually advanced kind of state, perhaps even mistakenly so. Both patterns represent an attempt to solve the fundamental human challenge of connection. And connection is, in a sense, that which lets us remember wholeness, in a sense. A wholeness is not devoid of connection. Wholeness is self-experienced in a holistic sense, including connection, the great self. The narcissist seeks connection by making everything about themselves, and the self-abandoner seeks connection by making everything about others. And therefore, neither of them actually achieves true intimacy, which requires both self-awareness and genuine recognition of the other as an actual complete being. And what's been so transformative in my own journey is realizing that these are actually not character flaws, but protective adaptations to early relational experiences. And so the only appropriate response to that is compassion and understanding with regard to either patterning, and each one in their own way need to figure out how to find the connection that they've essentially missed in certain formative years. I'd love to hear which of these patterns resonates more with your experience. Please do drop a comment below. Let me know which aspects of this you'd like me to explore further. And remember, awareness is always the first step to transformation. Just by recognizing these patterns, you've already begun your healing journey back to wholeness. Don't forget that the world needs your authentic presence.